Hello and welcome to our study guide for our mid-chapter quiz. This encompasses lessons 2.1 to 2.4. Tell whether the equation is true or false. Oh no, a typo. I see I have an equal sign, and I know that on both sides of an equal sign, it needs to equal the same thing, or it has to have the same answer on both sides. If it's not the same answer, then it is false. So I need to solve both sides. Let's see. 3 plus 4 plus 20. Well, I know 3 plus 4 is 7, and then plus 20 is 27. Okay, so now I need to check if the other side equals 27. I see 3 times 9, and 3 times 9 is 27. So this is true. And to explain, you can just simply say both sides of the equal sign are the same, both answers are the same, it is the same number on both sides. You can write something like that. For number 2, again, I like to write a line that goes straight down to separate the left side from the right side. It just helps to keep me organized. So I have 4 plus 12 plus 3. There are many ways I can choose to add these three numbers, but I'm going to add 4 and 3, which is 7, and then plus 12, I know is 19. So the other side has to equal 19, but it's 5 times 5, and we all know that 5 times 5 is 25. So my answer is false. And it's false because if I want to explain it, I would say 19 is not the same as 25. They are not the same number. It does not equal the same thing, etc. Moving on to number 3. I know that 6 times 4 is 24. And now I have to see if the other side also equals 24. So I have to subtract. 8 minus 4, 2 take away 0, and 1 minus 1 is 0. If this is true, both sides of the equal sign have the same number. Okay, on the left side I have 25 plus 25 plus 9. And I know that 25, it's like a quarter. So a quarter and another quarter is 50 cents. 50 plus 9 is 59. But I know this fact. 6 times 10 is 60. They do not equal to each other, so this is false. Now it's time to find the unknown number. Here they show the unknown number with a letter. In number 1, they use the letter G. We need to find what number that is. Is it a 2? Is it a 1? Is it a 29? Let's see. What do I know? Well, I know that if I see an equal sign, that both sides have to equal the same number. So on the side that has both numbers and an operation, I can solve for this side. 6 times 2 is 12. The other side must also equal 12. So let me write this in a different way. I have 12 equals G times 12. I've seen something like this before. This is kind of like when they say 12 equals blank times 12, or maybe they put a question mark or a box with a question mark, and I need to find what number should be there in order for this to be true. Well, this is so easy. Did you figure it out yet? The answer is 1, because 1 times 12 is 1. It would make the equation true. So then I would say G equals 1. Let's take a look at number 2. I'm going to start on this side because it has both numbers and the operation. I'm looking for H, so I can't solve this yet. 6 times 5 is 30. So I know the stuff on the other side has to equal 30. Something minus 23 equals 30. I know my subtraction, the first number has to be large, the largest number. What can I do? Let's take a look at this problem. Blank minus 5 equals 2. What number, take away 5, would give me only 2 left? That's easy. I can do that in my hands. 7 minus 5 equals 2. But you know what you just did to find that answer? You added the two numbers that you see there. So I'm going to do the same because I know that the very first number in a subtraction problem has to be the largest. So I'm going to add these two numbers to find what does H equal. 23 plus 30, 53. So H equals 53. I can check my work by completing the equation that I just made. So if 53 really is my answer, then if I actually do 53 minus 23, it should give me 30. If it does, then I know I did the math correctly. Let's see. 3 minus 3, 5 minus 2. Yep, it's 30. All right, I'm going to erase a little bit because I cannot look at this page with so many colors and so much writing. It's hard for me to think like that. So since we're studying and you're following along, I'm going to clear the page a bit. Number 3. I'm going to solve the side where I have both numbers and my operation. 6 times 6 is 36. And I know it needs to equal whatever's on this side. So what times 15 equals 36? If I look at this problem that's similar to the one below, blank plus 3 equals 5. How do I find the answer? I know you already know that it's 2, right? 2 plus 3 equals 5. But how did you actually get that? Believe it or not, you're thinking about facts families. And to find the answer 2, you would again get these two numbers. But instead of adding, you're subtracting. 5 minus 3. And that's 2. So in an addition problem, I'm going to subtract in order to find my missing add-in. So 36 minus 15. The answer is 21. I can check if I'm correct by plugging it in. That means I put that number in there. And I see, does 21 plus 15 really equal 36? 21 plus 15. It does. So I know that it is correct. H equals 21. And number 4, I'm going to solve on the side that has both numbers and the operation. So 6 times 4 is 24. And that needs to equal whatever is on the other side. So 8 times what is going to give me 24? And I get 3. 3 times 8 equals 24. So I know that M equals 3. Your quiz has two questions like these. And I would say that they most closely resemble number 2 and number 4 and number 1, because number 1 and number 4 are the same type. Write 2 comparison sentences for the equation. 63 equals 7 times 9. I can say 63 is 7 times as many as 9, or I can say 63 is 9 times as many as 7. Remember that the equal sign means you should write is. For number 2, I can say 48 is 4 times as many as 12. Or I can say 48 is 12 times as many as 4. In this section, this question resembles a word problem you will see on your quiz. You don't have to draw a model, but it definitely helps to draw a model. A tip is to find the comparative sentence. So let's read. You buy a notebook and 2 pens for $15. One notebook costs twice as much as a pen. Your friend buys 2 notebooks and 3 pens. How much does your friend spend? The comparative sentence says one notebook costs twice as much as a pen. So here are my notebooks, here are my pens. My notebook costs 2 times as much as just 1 pen. So I made 2 rectangles for my notebook because it's 2 times as much or twice as much than just 1 pen. Also in the story, it tells me that when I bought a notebook and 2 pens, it cost $15 in all. So now I ask myself, how can I split 15 into 3 equal groups? I could also say 3 times what equals 15? Well, I know my answer is 5. Because 3 times 5 equals 15. I can have 3 groups of 5, and if I add those together, it gives me 15. So what is the cost of 1 pen? Well, 1 pen costs $5. And what is the cost of 1 notebook? Well, it's twice as much as a pen, so I could do 5 times 2, but I can also see my answer right here. 1 notebook is $10. That makes sense because I know that I spent $15 and 10 plus 5 is 15. But they want to know, how much does my friend spend? My friend bought 2 notebooks and 3 pens. So I just wrote the number right next to where it says pens. I know 1 pen is $5, but they bought 3 of them. I could say 5 plus 5 plus 5, or I could say 3 pens times $5 each pen equals $15 just for the pens. They bought 2 notebooks. Each notebook is $10, so I could say 2 times 10. And that is 20. Now, to find out how much my friend spent in all, I need to add 15 and 25. And I get 35. My friend spent $35. A lion's roar can be heard 5 miles away. The vibrations from an elephant's stomp can be felt 4 times as many miles away as the lion's roar can be heard. How many miles can the vibrations be felt? Well, I'm going to underline my comparative sentence. My comparative sentence is the vibrations from an elephant's stomp can be felt 4 times as many miles away as a lion's roar. So let's see, the elephant stomp can be felt 4 times as many miles away. So the elephant stomp can be heard even further away. I'm going to draw here the elephant stomp. It can be felt 4 times. So I did 4 boxes as many miles away as a lion's roar. So this will be the lion's roar. How many miles can the vibrations of the elephant stomp be felt? How many miles away? Where else does it talk about miles in this story problem? Let me read again. A lion's roar can be heard 5 miles away. Okay, so the lion's roar can be heard 5 miles away. And the elephant stomp can be felt 4 times. Okay, so I have my 4 boxes. So now they want to know how many miles away can the vibrations of the elephant stomp be heard or be felt? Well, that's easy. The lion is 5. The elephant is 4 times more than that. So I can find out through multiplication, such as 4 times 5. Or I can add up all of these miles. And either way, I will get 20. Multiply tens, hundreds, and thousands. The directions read find the product. You will have about 3 questions that look like this. So 4 times 300. It's easy because I know 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12, and then I just have to add those 2 zeros and put my comma where it belongs. 1,200. Number 2, 50 times 3. I know 5 times 3 is 15, and then I have to add 1 zero, 150. Number 3, 2 times 4,000 is easy because 2 times 4 is 8, and then I add my 3 zeros and my comma. And 600 times 2 is easy because I know 6 times 2 is 12. I add 2 zeros and I put my comma. 3 questions on your quiz will look like this. You need to find the missing factor. So I'm still working with the first digits that are non-zeros. This time I will ask myself, what number times 3 equals 15? Well, I know that 5 times 3 equals 15, but I still need these 2 zeros. So I add them, those 2 zeros, to my 5 to make 500. 500 times 3 equals 1,500. If I'm not sure, I can always double check. 5 times 3 is 15, and then I add 2 zeros. That's right. Number 2. I have a 3 and I have a 6. What times 3 is going to give me 6? I can also say 6 divided by 3 equals what? So what times 3 is going to give me 6? I know, 2. 3 times 2 is 6. But I need 600, so don't forget to put those 2 zeros. 4 times what equals 12? 4 times 3 equals 12. but I have 1 0 that I need to add. And finally, 6 times what equals 42? 6 times 7 is 42, but I have 3 zeros that I need to add. 1, 2, 3, and my comma. Estimate products by rounding. If you don't know how to round or you need extra practice, please go to 1.6. It should be in your math journal. So number 1, 32 times 9. That's a bit complicated, so I need to round 32. I'm going to round to the nearest 10 because that's my highest place value. I look next door. 4 or less, let it rest. That means I'm not going to do anything to the number 3 because the 3 is tired. It just wants to rest. But all the numbers to the right become a 0. So now my number is 30, and I have 30 times 9. 30 times 9 is easy to do because we know 9 times 3. And 9 times 3 is 27. But don't forget, you have to add the 0. 248 times 7. I go to my highest place value, the hundreds place. I look next door. 4 or less, let it rest. I don't change the underlying number, but all the digits to the right become a 0. Now I have 200 times 7. I know 7 times 2 is 14, and then I just add those 2 zeros and my comma. And the last one is 3 times 89. The highest place value is 10. I look next door. 5 or more, let it soar. Or you can say 5 or more, raise the score. And I'm going to raise this number 8 to the number 9. And the other digit will become 0. 3 times 90. I can do this. This is 27 and 1 0. So the directions here read, estimate products by rounding. Find 2 estimates that the product is between. So 9 times 44, I know 44 is between 40 and 50. We want to find what number it's in between, either multiples of 10, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or we can also go by multiples of 100, 100, 200, 300, 400, or multiples of 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. But we want it to be close to that number. I know that 44 is between 1 and 100, but that's way too large. So I am going to say 40, and then 10 more would be 50. So 44 is in between 40 and 50, which means I'm going to multiply 9 times 40 and then 9 times 50, the 2 numbers that it's between. And when I get those answers, I'm done. So 9 times 4 is 36, and don't forget your 0. 9 times 5 is 45, and don't forget your 0. So the answer is in between 360 and 450. Next, I have 657. Since my number's in the hundreds, I'm going to pick numbers that are in between, or pick numbers that are multiples of 100. So like 100, 200, 300. But I want it to be close. So right here, it gives me the first 100, 600. It's in between 600, and then if I go 100 up, 700. So then I write my problems. I have 2 times 600 and 2 times 700. 2 times 6 is 12, and then your 2 zeros, 1,200. 2 times 7 is 14, and then your 2 zeros, 1,400. My answer is both of these numbers because they want to know the two estimates that the product is between. So both of these are my answers. Last one, 6 times 5,328. Oh my gosh. Well, what two numbers is 5,328 in between? Since I'm in the thousands, I'm going to pick numbers in the thousands, like 1,000 or 2,000, 3,000, etc. It's already giving me the first number that it's in between. And it's right in this digit. It is 5,000. And then I go 1,000 higher to 6,000. And I rewrite my problems. 6 times 5,000 and 6 times 6,000. 6 times 5 is 30, and then 3 zeros, 30,000. 6 times 6 is 36, and then my 3 zeros. You have 3 questions on your quiz like these. A sales representative sells 4 smartwatches for $199 each watch. To determine whether the sales representative collects at least $1,000, can you use an estimate, or is an exact number required? So I need to see if the sales representative reaches to 1,000. Well, let's find out how much money he made. The sales representative sold 4 smartwatches, and they're each $199 each. So I can say 4 times 199. I can do an estimate. And I look here. The highest place value. I look next door. 5 or more raise the score, which means my 1 becomes a 2 and the other 2 digits become zeros. Now I can multiply. 4 times 2 is 8, and I bring down the other 2 numbers and I get 800. So I want to know if the sales representative collected at least $1,000. He collected $800. And I also know that I rounded up. The watches actually cost $199, but I rounded up to $200. So I know that the actual price, the exact number, is a little bit less than $800 because I went up to 200 from 199. So because I rounded up, I know that the actual answer is less, and therefore it is not near 1,000. So I don't need the exact number. Estimate the products by rounding. About how many times does a giraffe's heart beat in 5 minutes? Find 2 estimates that the answer is between. Okay, let me see. Wait, where's the giraffe? Oh, the giraffe is here. This is the average heart rate. And these are the beats per minute. That means how many times it beats per 1 minute. The giraffe's heart beats, it's in between 60 and 70, because I see that this is somewhere in the middle of those 2 numbers. So for every 1 minute, it is between 60 and 70. But that's just for 1 minute, and I want to know about 5 minutes. So I need to see, I have these two numbers, 60 and 70. This is the lower range or the lower estimate, and this is the higher range or the higher estimate. It's somewhere in the middle, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to use those two numbers. I want to know about 5 minutes, so I'm going to do 5 times 60. And then I'm going to do 5 times 70 to find what two numbers it's between. 5 times 60, I know 5 times 6 is 30, and then I have to add another 0. I have 300. Then 5 times 7 is 35, and I have to add a 0, and I have 350. So in 5 minutes, a giraffe's heart beats between 300 and 350 times. But if you think that's a lot, look at a human's heart rate. Thank you so much for watching. Your quiz will have about 20 questions. I know you can do it. Study and you will feel prepared. Bye.